my driving question is, what's the history of the Spanish language? As well, I'll be teaching some basic Spanish words mostly used in conversation. This interests me because I want others to learn something different this year. Let's begin with the history. Latin is the mother and father of Spanish. Spanish is the first language of 390 million people and official language in 21 countries. In the United States, 43 million, about 13% of the population speaks Spanish at home. It is mostly common non-English language spoken. The Spanish language is a beautiful language because it is spoken differently in different cultures, so it has many accents. The Spanish language has a rich and complicated history. It has navigated the rise and fall of great empires. Spanish language changed over time by beginning borrowing words and grammar from several other Roman languages. The Spanish history started around the 2nd century BC, 5th century AD. Spanish language originated. Most scholars agree that modern Spanish was established in a standard written form in the 13th century in the Kingdom of Castile in the Spanish city of Turin. The city of Mexico is the largest Spanish-speaking city in the world. Spanish has its own very unique words which can't be translated in other languages. Now on to the fun part, we're going to be learning some Spanish. Does anybody know how to say hello in Spanish? Morley? Hola is the correct way to say it in Spanish. If you have trouble saying it, this can help you. Next. Does anybody know how to say goodbye in Spanish? Adios. That's the correct way to say it in Spanish. Does anybody know how to say thank you in Spanish? Isaac. Yes, gracias is the correct way to say thank you in Spanish. Does anybody know how to say please in Spanish? Mary. Lo siento is the correct way to say sorry in Spanish. Permiso is the correct way to say excuse me in Spanish. Of course, there are different ways to say it in Spanish. This is just the most used words in Spanish. Now we're going to be playing bucket. Class applies as well.
Here we will explore the major disaster and her process of making a way through. And I'm here to show. And here we will be exploring in a virtual field trip and travel back in time. So, greetings ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present the history of the infamous history of the RMS Titanic. But in order to do so, we need to head back in time to the DeLorean. 88 miles per hour. Well, we are in the DeLorean this morning. Speaking of that, we just arrived. Now let's head on and talk history. Oh my, this is huge. Must be the construction of the Titanic. Speaking of that, let's talk facts. The RMS Titanic was constructed at the Harland and Wolff shipyard. She took an entire 3 years to construct. Every part of her was crafted by men and tools. The Titanic was the biggest project for the shipyard at the time. Wow, look. Titanic is leaving the shipyard. I guarantee she's going to get her funnels installed. Fun fact, Titanic had 4 funnels, but only 3 were operational. The last funnel was used as a symbol of strength and might of the ship. Look at the RMS Titanic is setting sail for her maiden voyage. She's sailing from Southampton, UK to New York, USA. Mario, do not jump on my Titanic. And, well, I guess we have to go with them. What are you waiting for? Let's go. Well, we just boarded the Titanic. Such a fine steamer it is. Now, let's explore and talk history, and maybe we can find Mario. Oh my, look at this fabulous room. This is the first-class grand staircase. All of those carvings you see were handmade by professional carving artists. What a recognizable room. First class only. Goodness gracious. Look at this astonishing first-class dining room. Here, every member of first class ate here, for example, like John Jacob Astor number 4 or Benjamin Guggenheim. We're at the Captain's Bridge. Fun fact, did you know that the Titanic had 3 steering wheels? This is where they navigated the world's biggest ocean liner. It is the infamous Captain Smith. Fun fact, when Titanic sank, he actually went down with the ship. Hello there, I'm Edward Smith, captain of the ship. Look at this first-class facility. Fancy, eh? Fun fact, for a first-class ticket, it costs $150, $1,700 in today's money. Oops, sorry about that. I would like to take a peek at this adoring second-class cabin. Another fun fact, did you know the second-class tickets cost $60? About $700 in today's money. Lastly, the recognizable third-class cabin. Very simple looking. The ticket here will cost you $15 to $40, between $170 in today's money. Mario, there you are. Wake up now and let's continue exploring the Titanic. We have very much on our plate. My oh my, look at these impressive machines. The engine room powers up Titanic. Fun fact, did you know that Titanic's engines were taller than 4 stories? Look, boiler rooms. This is the place to get the power to make the Titanic run. Fun fact, did you know that Titanic needed over 850 tons of coal per day to keep it running? Let's go. It's 2 months. What a fancy ship. Authorized by first class owner. They have all sorts of exercise machines, like the electric camel or the electric horse, cycling machines, rowing machines, punching bags, and much more to come. Well, Mario, it's been a great trip to the Titanic. We should probably go before she strikes an iceberg. Screech! Yikes! Titanic is sinking. She must have struck an iceberg. We need to go. She's going to sink in exactly 2 hours and 40 minutes. You and that red plumber. These boats are for women and children only. There are only 20 lifeboats and not enough for everyone. Rules are rules. We need to get to this thing before Titanic completely sinks. Fun fact, did you know Titanic had 2 sister ships? They were the Olympic and the Britannic. Not the time. Let's go. We're here. Let's go and prepare for the final moment. Fun fact, did you know that the stern was known as the poop deck? Ha! We're saved. Let's get out of here and head home. We had many escaped Titanic, but that does not mean others did. There were over 2,200 on board, and 1,500 lost their lives, and only 705 survived. My goodness, Titanic has split into 2. She must have broken half due to water pressure. Indeed scary. There was the Titanic heading down to the watery grave, 12,500 feet below. The Titanic completely sank on the day April 15th, 1912. She never made any complete voyages. The wreck would later be discovered on September 1st, 1985 by explorer Robert Ballard. In the early mornings of April 15th, the RMS Carpathia rescued the remaining 705 survivors of the RMS RMS Titanic. Fun fact, did you know that RMS stands for Royal Mail Ship? This is my stop motion I created last weekend, and it has over 1,200 pictures. And this stop motion will resemble the tragic disaster of Titanic.
Hi, my name is Bo, and for my Genius Hour, I've done it over the Untitled HE176. The reason I've done it over is the video we're about to watch.
In the 20th of June of 1939, Heinkel, a German aircraft manufacturer, tested the first liquid-fueled rocket airplane to be propelled only by rockets. Its name is Heinkel E-176, and even if it was able to reach insane speeds of 750 kilometers per hour, it was far from being a usable aircraft. It was hard to control and extremely dangerous to pilot. The airplane was never really used. It was just a proof of concept, but something.
Now, the original purpose of the plane was to be a fast bomber that could outrun anti-aircraft missiles. But then after its first test flight, it was deemed a failure, going only at speeds of 500 miles per hour, where at the time wasn't fast enough. So after being deemed a failure, it was put in a museum in Berlin, where it was then destroyed in the Allied bombing raid of 1943. Now, I'm going to explain to you the chemical reaction that fueled this plane. It used a mixture of potassium permanganate, a black powder you might find in a water filter, and hydrogen peroxide at a very high mixture, like 90%, whereas at the store you find 3% to 5%. And when the two are mixed, they make a byproduct-like gas that can be pressurized and shot off the back of the plane. Fun fact, the fuselage, or the part of the plane from the cockpit back, could detach itself from the cockpit in case the whole back plane were to explode, in the case that they didn't know what the reaction would do once it hit air. So, now, I'm going to demonstrate for you the chemical reaction on a much smaller scale due to not being able to find the chemicals at proper levels I needed. So that's what I'm going to do now. But I had to mix water with the potassium permanganate right here. It's a little bit hard to get up. Then I take the 3% hydrogen peroxide that's over here. Take it. That's not enough. That's enough. Now, mix these two together. So 3, 2, 1. And again, this is on a much smaller scale, so this gas would be pressurized in a plane on 90%. So that was the chemical reaction that fueled the plane, and this was my presentation about the Einkel AG-176, my genius hour. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Owen, and my driving question is, why was ancient Greek architecture built and how was it built? I chose this topic because I've always been interested in it, and I finally got a chance to research into it more. Their houses were built with wood and clay. Clay for bricks and wood for support beams. Their ancient temples were built with limestone and Pelton marble. Limestone for the exterior and Pelton marble for their statues. They had 3 different types of columns: Doric, Longic, and Corinthian, Doric is an exemplified of a solid filled column with a base and a square slab resting on the rounded modeling. The Longic style features a base column with scrawled shapes called vouchers on tops of the shafts on either side. The Corinthian style is the most ornamental style, with fluent columns decorated at the top with acanthus leaves and spirals. Their structures are known so worldwide that they had one of the 7 structures of the ancient world. Now we will look at a video about the 3 columns mentioned earlier.
Of columns. They came in 3 styles or orders: Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Many Roman buildings were built in the Greek style. Modern architects have also been influenced by ancient Greek design. You can see this influence in buildings such as the Bank of England in London, Birmingham Art Gallery, and the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C.
I will now show a Minecraft world of a labeled Greek house and a miniature ancient Greek temple. Part of my genius hour was I wanted to build something from ancient Greece in Minecraft. So what I did was I built a version of an ancient Greek house and a miniature ancient Greek temple. Now I will give you a tour of both. You'll go through the entrance. They'll have a courtyard with an altar. They have basically a generic dining room. Storage room where they kept extra supplies, mainly food. They had a storeroom or shop with vases, wells, food, and other valuables. A living room with chairs and tables. An open bathroom. A kitchen, extra food space with extra food space, stove, counter, sink. If you'd go up here, you'd find the bedrooms with the beds, tables, chairs. Same thing with this one. And here's a outward view. Next, we will go to the Greek temple. It's the same design as any regular Greek temple, just smaller. They would have some sort of statue on the inside. For my example, I did Olympus Zeus. I'm glad I was able to successfully create some Greek architecture. This took me about 4 to 5 hours. I thank you for listening and hope you learned something new.
Hi, I'm Marie, and this is my Genius Hour on what is the evolution of Nintendo and are there different consoles or video games in other regions. Before we start, the reason why I picked Nintendo was because I wanted to work for Nintendo of America. Next slide. In 1889, Yamauchi Nintendo made handmade Japanese Hanafuda, which are playing cards. In 1952, Nintendo had made an agreement with Disney to put their characters on the cards. In 1985, the NES was released. It was the first home console to be released outside of Japan. It had 62 million units sold. In 1991, the SNES was released. It was the console that made Super Mario World, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, and etc. In 1995, the biggest mistake was ever made, the Virtual Boy. It was said to be the worst console ever because 1, it gave people headaches, 2, you had to put your head inside a mounted headset. In 1996, the N64 was released. It had 32.93 million units sold. It was the first 3D compatible console made by Nintendo. In 2001, the GameCube, or Nintendo wanted it to be called the GameCube Nintendo, was a commercial failure but still a good console with 22 million units sold. Fun fact, I used to watch people crash the GameCube for fun. In 2006, my favorite console, the Wii, was released. It had motion controls. It was actually the first to have motion controls. It beat both PS3 and Xbox 360 with 115.3 million units sold. In 2012, the Wii U came to shelves. The Wii U was known for its bad ads. Here is one.
We'll make this quick.
Family time's dropping fast, people.
Boo!
Time to upgrade to Wii U.
With Wii U, we can play Super Mario 3D World.
Find secrets with the Wii U gamepad.
And did we mention togetherness?
Just check out the simulation.
Ooh,
I look good.
look at that.
Yeah, I look like I've been upgraded.
Get the gift of family when you upgrade to Wii U for $299.99. Game ready to eat for everyone.
It had HD graphics, but it was a really bad console with 13 million units sold. In 2017, the current Nintendo console, the Nintendo Switch, was released. It was a hybrid console, being able to be portable and a home console. It had 103.54 million units sold. I hope you enjoyed my presentation and you learned something more about Nintendo. Hi, I'm Evie, and for my Genius Hour project, I chose Who is Tony Stone and what was her impact on sports for women. I became interested in this topic because Tony Stone's story is fascinating and not many people know about her. Tony Stone, originally named Marciana Lyle, was born on July 17, 1921 in St. Paul, Minnesota. Even at an early age, Stone loved sports, playing as many as football, basketball, golf, hockey, and tennis. Even as a child, she loved baseball, often playing with the neighborhood boys, earning her the nickname Tomboy. Her mother was worried she wasn't ladylike enough, but that didn't stop Stone from wearing pants and skipping school to play baseball. Although she excelled at sports, her smarts were unchallenged. She was an avid reader and believed that school didn't reflect reality in a realistic way. At age 16, Stone began playing with the Twin City Colored Giants.
Tony Stone is a woman that was born in West Virginia, moved here with her family when she was around 9 or 10 years old. Tony was a young lady that was a great athlete, and at her time, women weren't really included in athletics. And she had a love for all of the sports, but her main love was baseball.
The first thing I noticed about Tony is she had the body of an athlete. She was an interesting woman. I loved many of the women that I've done biographies and things of. But Tony was special, not just because of what she'd done, but because she was so very much herself.
Choose someone in your group to keep up with your score and someone to be the spokesperson.
Don't cheat.
Cinder Fields.
Correct. I was gonna say.
Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you learned something new.